Hi, everyone. It looks like we're live, and I'm just going to wait until people start popping in before we get started. We'll give it a couple minutes. Hi, I see some people are starting to join us. Leave a comment. Tell us where you're watching. Introduce yourself. Happy Friday, Jana, and hi, Cindy. Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining us. We're just going to wait until some more people hop on. We're live on YouTube and Facebook. And thanks for joining us so far. How's everybody's weather? Anybody affected by the hurricane? It's a rainy day here in New Jersey. And it's starting to get fallish over here. It's getting cooler in the mornings. We had a really hot summer. I don't know what everybody else has been experiencing. Welcome, everyone. We have people from all over. Hi, Kathy, Tammy. Thanks for joining us. Cloudy and chilly in Indiana. Okay, so for those of you who don't know me, I'm Patty Behan. I am the social media specialist and education specialist as well. And today I'm going to be making this cute little mini pocketbook. If you haven't heard, we've recently teamed up with 49 and Market and have done a collaboration with some dye ink pads. And also on our retail site, we're going to start selling their papers and accessories. So I thought this would be a nice way to show you what we do with it. So I'm going to turn my camera down to my desk and we'll get started. Okay, so now what I'm going to be using is the Botanical Buzz collection, and this is bundle one. A lot of the things I'm using came from that bundle. We'll be using some of the paper to make our book. We're going to make a book out of one 12 by 12 sheet of paper. And then we'll be using the laser cut elements, their washi tape, which is, I've never used it before, and the washi tape is like super sticky. It's great. I see we're getting a little blurry. Okay, maybe it's back. So I'm also using their chipboard elements. I think die cut chipboard elements. And what I have here is the Dilutions nesting boxes. And I've kind of picked out some of the pieces that I might end up using. And this is the it's called Chipboard Words that we'll be using. That doesn't come in the bundle, that's separate. So let me put this back aside. I'm just showing you what we're going to be using. And then I have some 49 and Market dye ink pads that we're going to use to add some ink to the pages. And then I have some Ranger texture paste in opaque matte and transparent matte. And before we make the book, we're going to start out with that. Let's open the book and show you what we're making. So I have like a Velcro closure here. And then Every page has a little pocket. And I've only started to decorate this, but you can add lots of embellishments. And then there's also like a side pocket here where I stuck some tags in. And the part that we're going to put the texture paste on are these little pull-out pages, I guess you could call them. And so we're going to start with that because these all have texture paste on them. And I want to, by the end, we can decorate them. So we want the page to dry. So I'm going to do that first. And so if you can see, I'm going to bring this up close. And I'm not sure if you can see the dimension on there. All right. We are going to use the texture paste. Okay, sorry, it keeps going out of focus. I'm not going to bring my things up close anymore. So one of the things that come in the laser cut elements packet are these cute little honeycomb cutouts. And I thought, wow, that would be a great way to use as a stencil. So we're going to actually use this as our stencil to recreate these tags. And then we can still end up using this and put it in our book. So also, I forgot to mention that we are going to be giving away 2 gift cards to rangerinc.com and pick them from the winners from the chat. So keep chatting away. And I'm not really good at looking at the comments. And I have Asia here, who's my partner in crime. She's also a social media specialist working with me, and she'll try to help me with that too. So, okay, so to start off, I got these cards from, oh, Janine's here. Hi, Janine. Thanks for watching. So to start off, I'm using this sheet of paper to cut out these cards. And I've already used this sheet, so I don't have the full sheet to show you in person, but this is what they look like close up. And then I just trimmed off about 1/4 of an inch from the side. So that I trimmed off 1/4 of an inch from the side, and then a little bit off the bottom, about another 1/8 of an inch. This way it'll stick in the pocket nicely. Okay, so let me get out. I picked some more cards that I've already cut out and trimmed. And then we're going to go ahead and use our texture paste. And then, so I'm going to start with the opaque matte. And I'm just going to place my little laser cutout onto the card here. Sorry that our camera keeps getting blurry, but I think it's because it's raining here. Okay, looks like I'm back. Sorry. Okay. Hopefully on the replay it won't be blurry, but I'm not sure about that. So first thing to know about texture paste, when you take it out of the jar with a palette knife, you want to put it on the back of the palette knife so that when you spread it, it goes on easier. You're not trying, if you put it on the front here, it's very awkward. But so what you're just going to do is spread it on, and then you're going to just wipe it through. And you don't have to do every single part of the stencil, and it doesn't have to be even. It's kind of good if you like skip a couple of the spaces. It just gives it more interest.
What size are the cards?
So the sides of the cards, I'll tell you, are 2 5/8 by 3 and 1, 2, 3, 4, 6. 3 6/8. So what you're really, it's not like an exact measurement. What you're really striving for is that when it sits, our pockets are 3 by 4, so that when you, so that it fits in the pocket and it still has room to come out. So it doesn't have to really be exact. That's why the measurements are kind of weird. Sorry. Okay. So I'm going to try to make this thin so that it dries by the time we're ready to do something with it. And also you can like tap your palette knife up and down into the paste to add like a little more texture. Okay, so that one's done. And we pull it up. And it's like so. And then we're just going to put this aside. And then I'm going to do another one with the matte paste. And we can move the stencil around differently, put it in a different configuration. Oh, thanks, Jenna, for putting in the measurements. And then we do the same thing. We just apply it and spread. Apply it and spread. How does the texture paste, there's a question, how does the texture paste take on different colors? We're going to ink over it. And that's what I'm hoping that it dries so I can, that's what I want to show you. There's so many different ways. You can colorize the texture paste with ahead of time with reinkers, paint, all kinds of things. Okay, so now we have this one is finished. Like so. Put that aside. And now we're going to move on to the transparent matte. You can always put like the excess in the jar. Like so. And make sure you get it inside the jar because you don't want to glue your lid shut. So you can put that aside. Okay, so to answer the question, how long does texture paste take to dry? It all depends on your climate, how thick you put it on, what you're putting it on. So there really isn't a definite answer for that. So I'm hoping that this will, the way I'm using it, it'll be dry by the time we make our book and get to it. Maybe we can time it that way. And we're in New Jersey and it's raining, so it's humid. So just so that you know. Okay, so we're going to take our last card, and we're going to use the transparent matte texture paste. Now, the other texture paste was opaque, so you can't see through it. But this is transparent, so you get you get the texture and transparency, so you can see through it. It will resist the dye inks when you ink over it. So, and that's why I picked, oops, okay. Okay, so that's why I picked a card that has a lot of writing on it, because then it'll show through. And here's the one over here where I did in transparent texture paste. You can see that it left those, you can't see the texture on the video as much, but you can see it in person. But this is what your end result is. You can see to the through to whatever you covered up. And then these ink, this is the darker part is where I inked. And you'll see it. It's easier to understand once you see it in person. And then again, I'm going to change the orientation of my little stencil here. And especially so, oops, okay. I'm waiting for my camera to come back in focus. And there's a question while I'm waiting for that. It says, does the texture paste in the jar dry out, or do you store it in a specific way? How does it react with water? So eventually the texture paste will dry out if you don't use it. Textured paste wasn't made to last like forever. Since it's a water-based product, the more air that gets into the jar, the more chance it will get to dry out. So you really want to use your texture paste. We do sell rubber bands on our website that you can put around the jar, and that slows down the drying process. And it'll extend the life. But really, if you're not going to use the texture paste, then you might think about other mixed media applications that you want to use. If they're going to sit in your craft room and you're not going to use them, then we do have smaller size jars. I don't remember. I think they might be like 1 or 2 ounce jars that you can get as that might be a way to just try out the texture paste. So, okay. So now, let's see. And yes, Kimberly, you can place plastic wrap over the opening of the jar too to help extend the life. Okay, so now this is the transparent texture paste, and it's the same. You apply it the same way, and I'm purposely gonna. There's a little flower on here that I'm making sure I put the texture paste over that so you can really see when it dries how you can still see the image underneath the texture paste. So apply it the same way, and when you put it on, it looks like it's opaque a little bit, but it will dry clear. And I'm actually going over the stencil here, putting a little more than I wanted to. Okay. All right. And then I'm just going to tap it to get a little more texture. Scraping off in a couple parts. And then this one is harder to see because it is kind of clear, but we'll see it when we put the ink on. And so then we'll let that dry, and we're going to put this aside to dry as well. And I'm going to clean up my supplies here. And then okay, I see a question. Will there be a downloadable PDF file for this project available? I hadn't thought of that, but tell me in the comments if you'd like to. It would just kind of be instructions with measurements, I guess. I could do that if you tell me in the comments if you'd like to see that. And it might take a bit for me to do that. Okay, So now let's put these aside as well. And so I wanted to bring this back in here again. And for my sample book here, I use this paper. And as you can see, it's showing the back side of the paper here, and then these parts as my pocket. But so since I only had one sheet to work with, I'm going to try a different piece of paper from this packet. And also in this collection, they have plain paper 12 by 12. It's not plain, but it's pattern paper solids, they call them. That would be a great thing to use too. But I kind of like the little extra details here. Just gives it a little added, interest to your book. So I'm going to choose this sheet. And let me get clear, make some room. It's hard to work with a 12 by 12 sheet in this little area. But so another thing you want to look for is the top and bottom 2 inches of your paper are going to be your pockets. Okay, and so when you're choosing your paper, maybe you want to think about that. So, and be aware that it might be upside down when we fold over to make our pocket, but it's okay because we're going to cover, you're going to cover that. So don't worry about the orientation as much as maybe just an interesting pattern. And also I think the lighter one, the papers that have the lighter kind of background on the other side are nice because that's what's going to make this part of it. So, and then it kind of just stands out. But it's, you can pick a busier paper, try it out. Who knows, you might end up what it looks like. I guess from moving around too much, it gets blurry. Okay, any questions? I use distress inks or oxides instead of 49 inks? Of course, sure. Let's see. Having the measurements for everything written down in an easily acceptable place would be so helpful. Okay, maybe we could put them instead of a PDF, maybe we'll just put it in the description box. That'd be easier to access because I think that's what we could do. We'll put the instructions in the description box. Okay, so to begin, what we want to do is fold our paper in half. And this is a 12 by 12 sheet, and I cut off the scanning part. And the cool thing about their paper is everything is usable. You can use every little piece of scrap. So say I cut it off, but save it and use it to decorate your book. Okay, so instead of scoring, I'm just going to fold because I feel like you get better results. And a trick to folding things is in half. I'm using one of these old Martha Stewart scoreboards. But if you can sometimes do this on a paper trimmer too, the ones that have the ruler. But I find that if you put this flush against the edge there, and then you bring the paper to meet it to the top, you just get such a much better fold. When you try to score it, do you ever notice that sometimes it just, even though you thought you did it in the middle, it's just not the middle. So I feel like you have a better chance of getting a nice even fold. And we'll see. And now I have a Teflon bone folder that I'm going to make sure that I get a nice crisp fold here. Okay. And then I'm going to unfold it. And to begin with, it doesn't really matter what way you're folding it yet, because you can always refold it. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn it around and fold it in half this way. So you're making like a plus sign. Doing it the same way. Make sure you burnish it. And then we're going to open it up again. And then, so now we have a fold here and a fold here. Now we want to fold each end up to this middle line. Now this is the tricky part, to get it to meet the fold, because we don't have our little cheat. And you don't want to go over the fold. And then we're going to go ahead and crease it and burnish it. And then we're going to turn it around, and you're going to go ahead and put this side to the fold. And you're going to burnish it as well. Yeah, the paper is really nice and thick, Rebecca. So it's good to make a book. Just want to go ahead and burnish it again. Okay. Now we have, these are going to be our pages. And now we're going to do our pockets. So since I want these to be, I want this to be my pocket and this to be my pocket. So this is where I am going to measure and score 2 inches. So I'm going to score 2 inches this way. And actually I could do it from the 10-inch line here. And if it's serendipitous that it seems like in this collection, like 2 inches is their like little border on a lot of the papers. So that's why it kind of works really nicely. Okay, so now get that out of the way. Okay, and so now we want to take our 2 inches and we want to fold it into the light side, because remember this is what our book is going to be like. This is the inside of our book, so we're folding it into the inside. Okay. So now this is what we have. Okay.
On YouTube, so we can rewatch it.
Yeah, this is going to be on YouTube, so you can rewatch it again. Okay. And now I just realized that I did the wrong 2 inches. Okay, so I'm going to do these 2 inches. I'm sorry. You want to make sure that, I didn't check this right. You want to make sure that you have like a 4-inch length and a 2-inch length to be your pocket. So I totally messed that up. Sorry, but it'll still work. So, okay. So now I want these to be my pockets. Okay. So now the next thing we have to do is trim. So we have to make our book, we have to cut from the top and we have to go 9 inches down. So you're going to have that last page of your book is not going to be cut. So you want to use a trimmer that you can see the measurements and see where it's going to cut. So on here, there's a ruler and there's a little arrow and it says 9 inches and you can kind of see where your fold is. So you want to trim from this trimmer is not the best choice. So, okay. All right, we're moving right along here. So now you have a piece of paper that looks like this, and we're going to tape it together. And I kind of ripped this a little bit, so that's okay because it'll be distressed. All right, so the next thing we want to do is we want to add our tape strips to glue it together. And to do that, I'm looking for my score tape. And then I'm going to, these are going to be our pockets. So we want to put tape on these 2 edges. And I'm just opening this for the first time, so I have to find the beginning. So you want to do it from here. Okay. So here. And I'm going to take off the liner tape. And I'm going to glue that down. And then taking this off. And glue that down. And I also I'm going to do these edges as well. When I made the book the first time, I didn't glue it because I wasn't really sure how it was going to work. It's a little confusing, as you could see, but it really is a fun book. And if you wanted, I think you could do it without the pockets, and you would have a 6-inch book instead. So I'm just gluing down this other pocket. Trying to stay in the camera here. and that's glued down. And then, so what you have is, this is the start of your book. Now, what I did here is I made another pocket, and like you can, leave it without a pocket and just glue the whole thing. But so I didn't want to put my strip yet because it's confusing. So you want to make sure you're putting it in the right place. Okay. So we're going to take another like 2-inch strip, and sorry, I'm on the camera here. And actually, I'm going to leave, I'm not going to do the whole 2 inches because then the tags will fit. I have to find my tags. I'll show you what we're trying to do here. You want to make sure your these little tags will fit in there. I mean, you can put anything you want. I just happen to put in tags. But so we're going to put the glue, the strip, so there's going to be plenty of room for this guy to come in and out. Okay. I'm going to glue that. And now, so what you're going to do is you're just going to fold it accordion style. And this is your book. And you know what? I should have got the paper distresser, and I could have, I would distress the top of these edges here. But, so now we have our little book, and we're gonna, I lost my burnisher. Oh, I found it. And we're just gonna burnish this a little better. We can open this and give it a good crease. This paper is really thick, so it's very durable. Your book will hold up. Okay, well, that's a good idea. Somebody said I could put another piece of paper on top for the ripped edges, but oh, you know what? Thanks for the idea. We could put washi tape on top too. We could do that. That'll work. Thank you. See, there's always a fix for something. No panicking. Okay, so now either you can make a spine out of, a piece of paper, but I am going to use the washi tape because it's pretty sticky, and it's been holding up. Let me show you. This is the washi tape, and it's been holding up really well. I'm very impressed. So we want to pick one that's thick, and everything goes beautifully together. And before I do this, I want to make sure you're putting your spine in the right place. Okay, I don't want to have another little accident here. Okay, so before we do the spine, then maybe we'll go ahead and we'll put some washi tape on top. And so I think I'll go from here to here, and I think it's big enough where we can just put it on top. I have to see, they come in like little pieces. I just have to get it off. I should have brought my pokey tool with me. That's how sticky it is. Okay. Yes, this is 49 in Market washi tape. It comes, we sell this in a bundle, and it comes in the #1 bundle. I'll ask Asia to put a link in the supply to the supply list to what I'm using here today. Okay, so I am going to use this. I'm kind of eyeballing it. Let's see. need to cut it like right here, I think. Scissors. Trying not to bury everything as I go along. I'm going a little bit bigger just in case I messed up. All right. Okay. Put that out of the way. And the thing about the washi tape, it's like flexible enough. All right. So I'm not sure if I'm going to get this. It's like hard to craft when people are watching you. So I'm not sure if it's going to be like perfectly even, but when you're at home, you can take the time to really make it nice. Okay. There we go. Oh, beautiful. See? Crisis averted. That just adds another little extra, and it folds so nicely because it's washi tape. Look at that. And we've just added another design element into our book. Okay, so let's do the other side. Do the same thing. And since this is folded over, you could add something there if you want, but in the interest of just moving things along, I'm not going to do that. So, and you don't even have to think about if it's going to match because everything is so beautifully coordinated in this collection that you can just, oh, I like this. I'm going to put it there. Yeah, that'll work. Trust me. Okay. And then there's like these little skinny strips too before you get to the next design, just so that you know. Okay. I'm glad that you're liking this. I love playing with paper just as much as I love playing with ink and paints. I used to be a scrapbooker. My sister and I used to have a scrapbook store. So I haven't really scrapbooked in a long time, but this is bringing me back to my roots, and I love these papers because this is like just my style. Okay, and then I'll put this over the top. And they're really sticky, but I just stuck it to itself. Okay, I'm gonna get it good. They're really sticky, but at the same time, they're liftable too. It's just like the perfect mix of stickiness and repositionableness. And also, see, I'm working on my nonstick craft sheet, and so I can press it down, the stickiness, and then it comes right back up. Just is a great work surface. Okay, so we're folding this over. Oh, Fraps and Scraps. You used to have a scrapbook store too. And Janina, Patty, I'm going to bring you back to paper. This is such a cute project. I'm loving it. Very clever. Thank you. I love this paper. Yeah, I think you're starting to get me to have the paper bug again. Okay. So now we have our book, and now we've fixed our little boo-boo at the top, and I like that solution. Whoever suggested that gave me the idea. Thank you very much. Okay, so now we're gonna make our spine. So we're gonna need some more washi tape. And I'm gonna go ahead, cut it just a little bit bigger than I think I need, just in case. and then I'm going to put it like halfway. I'm going to start flush at the top. And now before I fold it over, I'm going to trim it so I get a better trim. I'm going to turn it to the back and cut it. My little scissors here. Okay. And then I'm going to cut it over. And all right, so this one is a little thinner than the one I used in my first book. So I am going to add just a little reinforcement. So I'm going to go ahead and just take this tape, and I'm just going to add a little bit more. I'm going to use the same one, and I'm just going to go ahead and cut across again. And I like the flexibility of using the washi tape as a spine, but you can use paper. Okay, so I'm not even going to worry about if I'm matching the design. I'm just going to kind of go again halfway, and that'll be fine. Oh, and that is exactly right. And I'm just going to fold that over, and then we have our book, like so. Okay, so now the next thing we're going to do is we're going to start using these beautiful inks. And we're just going to go ahead, before we do anything else, we're going to ink up the book before we start embellishing it. So I wanted to show you the way that I'm going to be using the mini ink blending tool with foams, and I'm going to show you the way that I organize all of my foam tops. This is the gel plate tin, and what I did was on our website, there's a link down at the bottom of the page that says organize your range of products, and maybe Asia, you can put this link into the chat. But we have labels for all of our ink pad colors, paints, anything that has a color. We have labels and color charts. And what I did was I downloaded the 49 and Market template for the ink pad labels, and when I printed it, I reduced it to 50%. Okay, so they do come bigger so that you can put them on your ink pads if you want to label the sides of your ink pads. So then what I did was, since this tin is metal, I attached my little labels to a magnet. And you don't want to so I tried to use magnet sheets in my first go around, but you want to use a magnet that's pretty strong. You don't want to get those thin magnets that you can print on, so that they stick. And as your collection grows, and if you like to keep your things in rainbow color order, you can move these around. Because what I did was, since our foam pads attached to Velcro, I put the bottom part of the Velcro, it's sticky, and then this is how you can store all your foams. So you have a foam for every color without having a tool for every color. It's a little way to save some room, because it's just a thin tin, and if you have you know, like in the distress line, there's like 60 some odd colors. So we have 2 tins for that. But you wouldn't have 60 tools. Like, and some people do the color family, but this gives you the option so that you can have a foam for every color, because that's what I like to do. So it's just an idea. And oh, notice there's room for maybe some more. Yeah. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take one of the darker color inks. So I'm going to take my salted caramel. I'm going to do salted caramel ink, and I'm going to just put some ink onto the foam, and I'm just going to go ahead and go around the edges, all around the book. It just adds, see how it adds that extra little something. And you can like mix and match the colors. So for this, a lot of there's more colors that I think would go with this, but I picked rainforest, pink sands, salted caramel, and cappuccino. So like if you want, you can you know, do one page, one color, do it all the same, mix it up. This is what the ink is what adds life to these papers. Are already beautiful, but it's just that little extra something. Okay. And so for those of you who are just joining us, I just wanted to remind you that keep chatting away, because we're going to pick 2 winners from the chat for a gift card to rangerink.com. So all those people who are wanting to shop, maybe you'll be the lucky winner. And if you were saving, you're waiting to shop, maybe you'll win and get to shop sooner. We appreciate everybody watching. So that's our way of saying thank you. So Virginia said, wow, this is awesome and brave. Yes, I feel like I am being brave, because this is a little tricky. If that's what you're talking about. This is a little tricky project to make in front of people. And when I'm nervous to begin with, first of all, I'm getting used to it, but I'm really I'm very afraid to go talk in front of people. Okay. So I think that's good for now. You get the idea of what you can do. And then I'm going to go ahead and leave my ink pad there. Let's see how our texture paste is doing before we go ahead and move along. See if it's dry. It's still a little damp, but oh yeah, my gloss is not dry. Okay, we're gonna still wait because we have more things to do. I just wanted to see what was going on. All right, so I think this is dry enough where I can start to use it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start embellishing, and oh my goodness, the sky's the limit what you could do with this. And I'm just keeping it simple, showing you, some basic things, because we could just play all day here. I know I could. It's so much fun. Okay, so I'm going to cut this, and I'm going to embellish my cover. And I'll save this to use in another part. And I'm going to go ahead. I picked out from the laser die cuts.
The heat tool will be used to help the drying.
The heat tool can be used to help the drying, but probably after it's dry a little bit, because it will bubble when it's wet. It's going to bubble. And if, it's going to, be lumpy and bumpy. But if you like that texture, that's fine, but it's not like the ideal thing. So if you wait till like it's almost dry, which I'm probably going to end up having to do, it's okay to use the heat tool. Okay, so I have, again, I want to tell you that we struggle with organization for everything. I don't know how if anybody who's used these products before, how you organize this, but Dilutions has these nesting boxes. I showed this quickly in the beginning, but they come in a set of 3. I just have 2 here, and they nest together, and you can use them open like this, and then so you'll end up with six like storage options, or you can close them. They fit together, so you end up with 3 boxes that can close. But I just put all of the extras into these boxes here. And then you can kind of rifle through with them, and they're white, so you can decorate the boxes. And these are die cut elements. These come in the bundle too. And what you see in this little box is I pulled of what I think I might use, but it comes with all of these pieces. You can make a bunch of these little mini books just with this bundle alone. Make them for your friends. This kind of has like a friendship, love kind of theme, this set. So, and you can add pictures. You can add pictures to it, to the book if you want. You can just have. It's just fun to junk journal, just to make a book with stuff in it and then admire your art. That's there doesn't have to be a use for it. But if you want to add pictures, it's like you could use it that way. Okay, so I guess I'm going to use this piece. Oh, and again, we can ink this up too. So I'm going to go with a little bit lighter color. The cappuccino. I'll get my foam pad. Again, ink it up. I'm just gonna ink it up. The ink will go on those raised portions. Just like so. And I think that I'm going to add a little of the rainforest. This is a beautiful teal color. I'm just going to add just a little bit of that, just to show you that how it comes out. Just a little bit here and there. Just lightly grease it, just to add a little something to it. Okay, so how do we glue these pieces down? Well, I'm using the Gina Wakely Media glue. It's a white matte liquid glue, dries matte, and it has a fine tip applicator, and I'm just gonna, and you can apply it like straight from the applicator tip. It's that fine that you can apply the glue on this tiny piece. It sticks really well. It's perfect for this type of project, the paper to paper. Like this is a little thicker paper, and it still has, it's not just for paper to paper, it still has good sticking power. So I'm just gonna put this like so and give it a second to adhere. And if the glue seeps out the sides, that's okay. It'll dry clear, so you don't have to worry about it. And so the one thing about this, and maybe if I put a paper spine, it wouldn't, you could give it a little slack so it doesn't keep opening. But so as you can see on this one, I made a little closure that helps with that, with the Velcro. So that's what I'm going to do for that. And then I picked out this. I'm going to do similar to what I did, but not exactly the same. So I picked out this cute little fence to go on here, and I'm going to trim that down. And then I'm going to put some flowers behind the fence. So I'm just going to pick out some flowers. And you can ink these up too, the flowers. Let's see. I'm just going to see how these look together. Those are the white, so that shows up more over here. Kind of placing them. I'm a place before I glue. All right. So in the comments, let me know. Do you just go for it and glue it down, or do you have to arrange it and then glue it down? I kind of would like to see what people have to say about that. Okay. Just want to see how this will look. Put my fence. I think I like that. I think all I'm going to need is like two, because these are pretty, there's lots of flowers on here. Yes. Well, I think that does it. Okay. So now I'm going to glue this down. Even on these teeny tiny portions, we can do it right out of the bottle. No needle, no applicator needed. Yeah, oh, Dennis, thanks for joining us. Yes, the laser cuts are the best. This is such a beautiful collection. Okay. Just glue that down. Like so. All right, and then I'm going to trim off this bottom here. We'll save that for another day. You never know when those little pieces can come in handy again. Okay. And then we'll glue this down. And this is going to hold all those the other flowers too. Okay. And I just want to make sure this sticks. See what's any questions coming up. Thanks everybody for the nice comments. This is you can't go wrong with this paper. You can't make anything that's not pretty. It's just so beautiful. Okay. All right. So let's see how. This is feeling pretty dry. I'm going to go ahead and ink these up. I think I put the gloss on extra thick. That's really wet. I'm gonna like cheat and wipe a little bit off so that you can see, because it is getting, I don't want it to go too long here. You might get bored watching me, but I'm having fun. I could just like do this all day. Okay. Now, how about we take the pink sands ink and we'll do one of these. That's a pretty color. We'll ink it up. And then here you'll see where we can just like add that little extra color. Oh, we can, okay, so I don't know if how good you could see this on camera. I'm gonna start with the do the light color first, and then I'll bring it up, and I'm afraid the camera might go blurry, but let me see. So the pink color is like very faint. So let's go and add a little cappuccino. So you can see it on the camera here. You can see it in person, but it doesn't show. You can't see it as easily in person. So I'm just gonna go ahead and add that little darker shade. No, these are not waterproof inks. These are dye-based inks, and they're water reactive. Oh, and that reminds me, it's something I wanted to show you. But I didn't bring my water. So, and also you can go on the edges and ink the edges. Let's see if you can see this now. So you can see the dimension and that little hint of color. And it's, I didn't put the texture paste all the way through the stencil, so we just kind of have pieces of it. Okay, so that's that one. And if we want, we can go ahead and add a little rainforest because it's such inky fun. Just a little here and there. So here we have our first little piece pretty much done. Now we're going to do the same thing with this one. I'm going to start with the rainforest for this one. Let's make it rainforest. And it's just but I said rainforest, so I noticed I'm using my cappuccino with my rainforest sponge. Let's get our rainforest. But it's still pretty. Okay. Did anybody notice I was doing that? Okay. Okay, here, this is rainforest. I'm like, why isn't this? There you go. This is a really bold, pretty color. So you just have to go lightly with that. And then I need to add some salted caramel. To add a little brown into that as well. And you see how that just, I don't know, the ink really just makes it come to life a little. It shows up that texture paste, and you can see how it touches the texture. That's a better angle. Okay. I didn't bring any water, but Asia, can I ask you to get a spray bottle? And there's something else I want to show you in a second. Okay. While she's getting that, let's see what's happening with our gloss. Oh, that was quick. Okay. So now that we have all this ink on here, we can use a spray bottle with water, and we can just like lightly spritz in parts. And I'm going to let it sit a second, and then I'm going to take this, it's dry baby wipe, and it lifts the ink, and then you can see that added even more like interest. And then it lifted it so much over here. I think this is a little wet still, but it's supposed to lift off, but then you can go back and then it's just another little bit more dimension. Now the gloss one, still not really dry enough. Okay, so the gloss takes a lot longer to dry than the matte. Just for people who are asking about dry time, at least for the amount that I put it on. But so we can continue before we do that, and let's try to make our closure here. Okay, so on this one, what I did was I just put one of these chipboard pieces here, and then there's like these tickets that come in the die cut elements, and I use that kind of like as my little closure here. And then I backed, since it's white on the back, I backed it with, I went back to my cards that we have here, and I use that to back it. But I was looking for like a thick piece that I could use as a closure in this little stash here. But I didn't see a piece that I wanted to use, because I am using, I've just lost where I put it. Okay, so I decided to use this on the front of my book here, and instead of having this as my closure, I'm going to make this my closure. And I'm doing this for the first time, so I'm thinking it's going to work out, and I'm going to find out in a second. Between all of us here, crafty people, if it doesn't work, we'll find a solution. Okay, so first thing we want to do is we want to ink this as well. Using our same colors. I'm going to go ahead with the pink sands for this one. I still have like ink on here. So there's a question that, did I use a die cut for this, because you weren't here, but did I use a die cut for what? The book? If let me know, and I can answer your question. Okay. So now that I ink this up, it just takes away the stark whiteness of it, and it kind of just blends a little bit more. All right, so now so we need that little strip of paper that's going to go around, and I'm just going to, so we still have this left, and I think I'm going to use that as my strip. And so I'm going to measure it like so. And since this is really heavy over here, I want to make it sure it goes all the way to the back. So I'm going to cut it right here. I don't know what that measurement is. And I'm going to get my other trimmer. Oh, I left it outside. But I want to get the trimmer that has the guillotine trimmer. That's what I need. I couldn't think of the word. Let's get this out of the way. And since I didn't do a great job of cutting, I'm going to go ahead and use a different type of trimmer. And if anybody who wants the measurement is going to be different when you make your book, depending how. I'm going to do 6 inches. That seems to work. So I'm going to cut a 6-inch strip, and then I think I want it like hidden by this, so it's right under the curves. So that is about, I'm measuring over here. I'm going to make it an inch thick. That seems like a good thing. So we're going to make it an inch thick. I'm not sure what side I'm going to use yet, but we'll see. Make it an inch thick. To this side. Okay. I think I'm going to like it on this side for the back. So going to go ahead I'm going to trim this off a little bit. This is all eyeball. I'm totally doing this on the fly. I cut off an inch. This is like 5 inches. You want to make that flush to the back. You want this to sit on it. Okay, that works. So now we can glue this down. I'm going to use score tape for this. So I'm just going to like mark it like so. So I know where to put my score tape. Trim it. Do this. Fraps and Scrap said it would be great to add some note papers. Yes, that would be a great idea. This is just really the bare bones because we could just go crazy with this. And I just wanted people to be aware about how great the inks go with the 49 and Market collection. And like how you can add a little mixed media to it as well. You could do so many things. And then I'll take off the tape. make sure that this is like kind of in the right spot. I could have marked where I wanted to put it, but that's okay. Okay. So this is good. And then I want to glue this to that. So I'm going to put my score tape on this as well. And maybe I'll add a little glue too. Just like for extra insurance. Like I'll put score tape on the sides. I have to close this to see where I want it. From here to here. I'm trimming it flush to however the book closes. Okay. I used to love to make little books, and when I had my store, went into all classes, and it was fun to come up with all kinds of configurations. So I'm having a little bit of nostalgia right now. My scrapbook store, I had it back in 2000 to 2003. And I've been working at Ranger for 19 years now. After I had my scrapbook store, I was a sales rep for scrapbook supplies. And that's how I ended up with Ranger, because they were one of the companies we represented. And it's like 6 miles from my house. So I always wanted to work here. And when the opportunity came about, I jumped on it like crazy. Okay, so now that seems like it's a really good fit. All right, and so I really didn't think about like this being exposed like that. So if I had the time, I would really back this with paper, but we really don't have the time with that. So let's just do a little inking just so it's not white. I'm going to use cappuccino. So I would like glue a piece of paper and cut it to match the back of that. Learn as you go. Okay. And then now we're going to add the Velcro. And I have a piece set aside in my little Dilutions nesting box here. And another thing I learned is that this little dot isn't really holding up on the corners as well, where the dot is really cute, but I wished I would have put the Velcro like straight across like that. So for that, I would recommend, instead of a little dot, like straight across. It'll just be a little bit better. So for this, I think I'm going to take my advice and go straight across. I know it's a big black Velcro, so if you could find like the white, that was white Velcro that I used. This is what we have here at Ranger. We use this for our shows. And I inked it up so that it kind of like blends. So if you could find some white Velcro, or you could just do a ribbon, but okay, so now I'm seeing when I close it, it has to be shorter. You want it so that you really don't see it. And I haven't figured out like the best way. Do I put the soft side on the bottom or the soft side on the top? You know, on the closure. I feel like the hook side, the rough side, should go on the bottom. I don't know. Somebody might have a better idea. Okay, so I'm going to put this like just like so. And this might be overkill Velcro, but okay. And then, so then, okay, that works. Now another trick too. You want, when you open it, you kind of want to put your finger and hold on that bottom Velcro to open it because it might rip. So just so that you know. Okay, so now we have the closure to our book. Some other things I did was these little sayings come in the chipboard words set. So what I did was I took the sayings that would fit in the book and I rounded the corners and I just glued them in different places. So that's another way that you can embellish the book. And I did glue them with the Dina Wakley Media Glue. Oops, and make sure you do it right side up. I almost put it in upside down. And I did it like just right at the top of the pocket. So that's another thing that I did. And let's go back to our, because it's getting, I don't want to bore you. So you can just continue to embellish the book with the different chipboard pieces. And this isn't quite dry, but I am going to try to, now that somebody asked before, can you use the heat tool to dry texture paste? And the answer is sometimes. And so that when it's almost dry, it's okay to go ahead and speed it along. When it's super wet, it's going to bubble. Oh, Lisa M said, I had to step away for a minute and I've seen people use small thin magnets for closures too. Yes, I've done the same too. And I totally thought of that and I didn't have them available to me, or else that's probably a better idea. You hide the magnet under the paper. Yeah. Judy says, I recommend lighter stick Velcro for paper crafts. There's really thin Velcro that I use for doll clothes that works great for paper crafts. Thank you, Judy. That's a great help. I use a denim needle on the machine. I also mark the needle just for paper use. Yeah. Yes, that's another thing. You could take these papers and sew the edges. That'll add some extra. Let's see. How long do you think it would take to make one of these if you're an experienced maker on the average? So I've been making this, so it's been an hour and a half to do this much. So to make the book takes actually, it's a little tricky in the beginning. I have to say I kind of messed up, and I hope that when I quote my mistake, it doesn't confuse people. But it takes like 10 minutes to make the bones of the book itself. It's out of, in case you missed it, this book is out of one sheet of 12 by 12 scrapbook paper. Thanks, Fraps and Scraps. I'm glad you're liking the project. And thanks for adding, for the people who are giving us extra ideas what you could do. It's like, so There's so many things you could do with this. It's just, the possibilities are endless. I know it sounds cliche, but it's true. Robin says, I have also just made holes in the paper and then just used embroidery floss to hand stitch. Yeah, that would be nice too. Hand stitching is always a good thing. Oh, thank you, Kate. If you try this project, please tag at Ranger Inc. and at 49 and Market to show us what you did. We would love to see it. And we hope that I'm inspiring you to give it a try. Okay, so now this is really hot. Let me just give it a second. And I'm going to go ahead and you see, so this is the one that we use, the transparent texture paste. I'm going to bring this up, and so you see how you can see through to the paper underneath. That's why I kind of did this on something that had a little more design, and even this little flower right here, it shows through the texture paste. I purposely put it on top of that. So I'm just going to use, let's use the pink sands. I'm going to do a light color and see how that goes. And we're going to ink over this transparent texture paste. And you'll see that this is different from the matte texture paste in that it resist the ink. It will not, it'll go around the texture paste, but it won't stay on top of the texture paste. If you can see. Oh, I probably should have used a dark color so you could see. I don't know if you can see that on camera. I'll go darker. I just like the look of this pink sands. I'll bring it up close before I go darker, but this is like the magic part. So you can see it now closer. So this is where my texture paste is. Oh, I don't want to get blurry. And you can't see it in the camera as much as you can see it in person, but there's a texture on it and it resists the ink. So that's a cool thing to play with. Okay, I'm just going to do one more thing before we wrap this up, and then we're going to pick two winners to get a Ranger gift card to rangerinc.com. So keep chatting. You still have a chance to win. So, okay. So if you noticed in my other example, I put these little tabs on here, and I used the tiny attacher to staple them on. Love the Tim Holtz tiny attacher. And so I have to go back into my box of tricks. And I kind of picked things out already that I thought would make cute little tags. For the little tabs for the top. Let's see. I thought I had it. Oh, I'm just going to use this one, but just trim it down. So I'm just going to trim this a little bit. This has like some lines, so that That'll help me cut a straight line. Okay, and I'm just going to fold it in half, like so. And then I'm going to put this so that you can still see the words. And I'm going to, you just want to make it stick out like, I don't know, a ½ inch maybe. And I'll staple it on there. Another little cute embellisher. I think I forgot to put the tiny attacher on my supply list now that I think of it. But some of you may already have these. They're these cute little, I'm trying to raise it up. Cute little staples. You can barely see it. I don't want to make it go blurry. So, and I kind of attached, I'm attaching this towards the end, and then I'm going to put one in the middle. So I'm going to go ahead and put this guy in the middle. And you can burnish these nice. I'm just like trying to wrap up, so I don't want to keep you on here too long. I'm going to put this guy in this pocket. So that it's kind of like you see them both. And then I'm going to put this last one. And also I don't know if I said this, but I did ink these tabs too, but I'm not going to do that right now. And I like to make little X's when I put this on here. I think that looks cute. And it doesn't have to be perfect. It can go off. And then I'm going to put this last guy in here. And then we have our little pocket here where you can stick your tag. The tags come in this bundle as well. And then there you have it. Your cute, beautiful little mini book. And I put 2 tags so that you can put them back to back so you don't see this, or you can cover this with paper to get rid of that white. And then that's it. I hope that you'll give us a try. Don't forget to, if you want to see more videos, to subscribe to our channel and like this video. And now it's time to announce our winners. And it is Sarah Clark and Robin Lane. And Sarah Chalk and Robin Lane are our winners. So send an email to rangerinc@gmail.com and send us your full name and email, and then we'll send you a $50 gift card to rangerinc.com. And I hope you give this a try. And again, the winners are Sarah Clark and Robin Lane. Sarah Chalk, I'm so sorry. Sarah Chalk and Robin Lane. I don't know why. Okay. All right. So thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.